goes there?
J, G, I,
So where's the letter A?
S, A, S, N.
That's an A. It goes there.
S.
Every time he accomplishes something, it's like, wow, wow, he can do it. Like, when he doesn't do something for a long, long time, you sort of go, why am I doing this? Should I just give up? Should I just forget about it? He's never going to learn it. And then he learns it, and it's like watching your baby take his first step or say his first word or whatever. And you know so how hard he worked to get there. And you can see his sense of pride as he's gotten older when he does accomplish stuff or does something on his own. So it's kind of cool. You got all the letters. Good job. We always said he had autistic tendencies, but we didn't know how much of it was just a sign of how severely developmentally delayed he was. And because with developmental delays you will get some of the symptoms of autism, and we had seen a doctor about autism, but he didn't quite meet the criteria at that was when he was 7 or 8. But as he got older, he developed more where he will sit and do this with his fingers, and he rocks back and forth, and he can rock so hard that he's broken springs in the furniture. As kids with Down syndrome get older, the school board wants them to become more independent, so they actually cut the funding for aid time. But as Bret got older, he actually started developing other issues like autism, which meant he needed more support, not less. But the school board just went, oh, he has Down syndrome, cut the support. First day, after we decided we were homeschooling, we went out and bought a laptop, and we brought it home and plugged it in on the kitchen table here and started to charge the battery up. And I hadn't even looked at it because my husband sort of did the choosing. And Bret came in and turned on the computer and pulled up the Word program and typed "Mum" and pointed at me, and I just lost it because he'd never said my name before. I was just like in tears. Oh my God, he knows who I am. The biggest problem, I think, homeschooling him was probably my boredom. When you're working at a preschool, grade 1, grade 2 level for months with the same material, you start getting kind of bored. The other thing was trying to figure out, with him not speaking, was how to get the information back to know that he was actually understanding what I was teaching him. So coming up with my own ways of testing him and that. And because he has the dual diagnosis of Down syndrome and autism, there wasn't a lot of people out there that could help me. They could give me suggestions on what worked for one or the other, but not the combination. So those were probably the hardest two things. We had been told by people not to get a dual diagnosis because having a child with autism is a lot harder to place or get help with than it is placing a child with Down syndrome into a program. But we figured you had to have the diagnosis as autism, because if they expected the typical child with Down syndrome and they got Bret, they would be, well, this isn't what we were expecting. We had all these plans that he would be able to do this, this, and this, and he wouldn't be able to because he has the autism. Scary, depressing, but on one hand you sort of go, do you, I think this is one case where you're going to not outlive your child is maybe good. Like everybody says, it's horrible for a parent to outlive their child, but I think when you have a handicapped child, you get so, nobody can look after my child the way that I can, that you start thinking, what if? What if I'm not there to look after them? What'll happen to them? Definitely. It's hardest, I think, when we see somebody who's around his age or that was born, like one of our friend's sons, if they were born within a few months of each other, and you sit there and you go, geez, if he'd been normal, he'd be more like that. That the rewards are there. That they might be a long time in between. And this sounds really funny, but when I was saying he will always be my little boy, I still get that big smile when I come to pick him up. I still get the hugs. He gives me a kiss before I leave the program. So it's things like that that just make you feel good. It's pretty well unconditional love.